What is up, Nintendo Land? Thanks for tuning into the Nintendo Open Air podcast. Tonight we're starting off with a recurring topic, running scarce. Of course, this starts off with our favorite console, the Super NES Classic Mini. Nintendo is now promising more are coming, as well as a revival of the NES Classic Mini coming in 2018. So what do you guys think? Is this more broken promises set up for Nintendo, or are they going to deliver for once?
They've cried wolf too many times, man. Like,
Well,
how many times did they insist that the NES Classic, they were making more, they were making more? Oh, no, we're not making any more. Go ahead, Eric.
I think you were right. They're part of most of what you said. Like they're actually gonna deliver on it this time, but the hype's gonna be kind of gone. So it's gonna be like when they re-release the gold Mario amiibo and nobody cared. So.
Well, we're talking about I think we're just talking about the Super NES Classic at this point. As for the NES Classic next year, I sort of agree with you.
Right. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stock this year for the Super NES. I think it will be more than what the NES Classic was, and I don't know.
Was ridiculously small.
Well, the other thing is the price is more, and I know we've talked about this before, and I think the price,
$20.
Yeah, the extra couple bucks is going to make it to a point where it might not be such an impulse buy. Scalpers are still going to be out there buying the crap out of it because they know that they've probably got, easy money, but I think it could sit on shelves a little bit longer because it's not aesthetically, it's not even as cool as the NES, like that's a very iconic thing. So I don't know, we'll see.
We never really talked about the price point on the NES Classic. It really wasn't that bad for $60 for what you get. It's actually a pretty good price, and even 80 it was not bad.
Yeah, I think that. Does everyone agree with that? I think, in general, the general attitude when the NES Classic pricing and the number of games on it was announced, I think it really kind of shocked everybody, right?
Yeah,
when you're used to paying $5 a piece for those, I guess it's a better deal.
Exactly. But suddenly they're $2 a game, and we're not even talking about the hardware, the beautiful little miniature Nintendo. You know what I mean? That was that was an impulse buy for pretty much anybody who could afford lunch.
Yeah, if they were a fan of Nintendo, that's
exactly. If anybody who was any sort of had any sort of nostalgia bone for Nintendo, that was a no-brainer, $60, period. And there's no that excuse about the mini Ataris didn't sell very well.
Reggie had
Ataris that were going for the same price, loaded with a bunch of junk. Like half of the games on those systems, those AT games or AT games, whatever that company that makes those, half those games are made up.
System.
They're not even original games. They're just like made up, fake, crappy, something they just cobbled together to say it has more games.
Reggie's story has to change with whatever. Like I said, he said more were on the way, and then they weren't on the way. He hit the cockiest thing that he ever said was during that whole NES Classic is anybody who wants an NES Classic is going to be able to get one. He said that before Christmas. Like, he's like, I think if you don't have one by now, you really don't want one. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's wrong. But now he's saying that, we kind of looked to see how many to produce based on what those other systems sold, and we kind of produced in line with that.
Not even,
but you had to know demand would be much higher.
Those systems also launched at like $80, and are like the quality level is just not even comparable, just even at first glance.
Yeah.
And now they sell them at Dollar General for $40 or whatever, or they probably don't even. They're probably already out of clearance at this point. But you know what I mean? It's like there's no way that they can point to that and say, oh yeah, we were comparing ourselves to that. No, you were not. There's no way I'm going to believe that you were even, you guys, like your R&D department picked up a couple of things, brought them home, laughed at them, and then said, okay, watch this. and now we're going to only produce like 50 of them worldwide.
Yeah.
I didn't even know
One thing you
there
can't
wasn't Atari Classic. I didn't even know they released one.
There's like
Yeah,
Atari. If you go to like Toys R Us even right now, there's like a Genesis thing that looks like a Genesis that comes with, you know, so many games preloaded on it, and there's an Atari
Oh, I've seen
flashback
that
one.
crap. Yeah.
You know,
And they're
they were kind
really
of thinking,
they're
or
very
at least he
poor
wasn't thinking.
emulators.
Yeah, he was saying that you know, they figured they were in that same kind of market, so they kind of looked to see what those were selling and then produced enough. But Nintendo should be smart enough to know anything with their name on it, it's going to sell pretty well, at least at first.
Well, and
Yeah.
plus,
Animal Crossing
they
Amiibo.
knew they were dropping 30 of the most popular games of all time for that system versus the kind of games that were coming packaged with these other consoles, which was 90% crap. And I'll tell you, I own all three of those, of the little original, not the Genesis one, but I got the Atari, the Intellivision, and the ColecoVision, and they're cute. They're adorable. I like them, but they're in no way comparable to that thing. And they were, you know, I got them for, you know, 40 or 50 bucks myself, or 30 bucks, I think one of them. But for 60 bucks, it's just not even in the same ballpark as
It's
these.
funny how they claim to know what their IP is worth, but then when they put it on a system like that, they all of a sudden are like, oh, we just thought this was an old box full of games like all the other ones.
But they
Well,
have
we-
their own market research in the
Yeah.
3DS Virtual Console and all the other virtual consoles. They know how these games sell as downloads, so they have an idea of what it would sell like packaged, I would think.
Yeah, because
yeah.
even if those are just to their core audience from the virtual console, but they have to know that, you know, just the popularity and nostalgia value.
Well, they also, I mean, they know because they are the ones issuing takedown notices when somebody produces a fake Mario game or a fake Pokemon game on the Apple, you know, the iPhone App Store, and it shoots to #1 overnight, right?
Did they issue a cease and desist for Super Mario Online, Super Mario 64 Online yet?
If they
Staying
haven't, I'm sure it's
topical.
coming.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
must be coming.
yeah, no, it's going through their legal. The paperwork is going through their legal department as we speak. If it hasn't already been
Right.
issued,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you can't do
Certain.
a Super Mario cartoon without like them ceasing and desisting. So yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't been as hyped up on the Super NES one, and I don't know if it's because I don't think it's as much because I'm soured on the NES Classic as I've just like I've got a Super NES. I play Super NES. I've got all the games for Super NES that I want. It doesn't have the same appeal in some way.
It wasn't again. I mean, I saved up my money as a child to buy the NES, and you know, it was like that. That was what I grew up on. That's what, you know, every one of my friends, you know, had or came over to play. Like that was it for me. By the time Super Nintendo came out, as I've said many times before, by the time Super Nintendo came out, I had discovered girls. So I was just like, I picked it up actually from my first girlfriend's little brother, because I think he was just discovering girls. And so he was like, "Oh, I played Zelda, I beat it. Hey, Metroid, I heard Metroid's coming out. You want to buy it off me for, I think, like $50? It wasn't too much." It's like, yeah, all right, sure. So you know, yeah, the NES class. The NES is my, like, that's the console I revere. Like, you know, if there's a flood and there's only one I can grab of my old, you know, out of my old storage boxes, that's the one I'm going to grab. No, the Virtual Boy is.
Don't make me choose.
No, I know
Yeah.
it's like, that'd be like your
No.
your children, man.
It
No.
is. Yeah, I mean, I love the Super NES. Obviously it's a superior system in you know,
Every
quality of games and stuff. Yeah, but I'm just not. For some reason, there's just something that's not hitting me in the nostalgia bone quite like that
It's not the
first one
first
did.
one. It's not the
Yeah.
first one. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
the plain and simple. But it also,
I
there's
think they're going
something.
to sell them.
There's something
They're going to
about
sell
that.
every single one, though.
There's something about that original blocky, you know,
Yeah,
all grays. You know, I
it's
don't know.
art.
It is, and I know the Famicom was actually the first one, But so I think they nailed the design with the NES in a way. The Famicom was very Japanese and just goofy looking, and it's cute. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. I like it, but there was something just nice, utilitarian. It kind of just looked like a VCR with the little front load slot, right? It was just like, no, this is just a box. This box exists for one reason, and that is for you to play the crap out of it.
They used
No
same
bells, no
excuse with the
whistles,
GameCube.
no fancy colors, none of that. Just it's this nice, very very slick looking utilitarian box. Yeah.
But
Sorry.
does anyone have any doubt they're not going to sell every single one that they put out there?
No, they will. They'll sell them all.
Of course, because they're only going to put out
Exactly.
20 of them.
They've
Reggie
doubled.
said, "Don't bid too high on the online sites."
Yeah.
Yeah, Reggie says don't pay more than $80.
I mean, at this point, Nintendo could just start putting links to eBay on their website when they say, buy this from an online retailer.
Yep.
On that note, and it's sort of a related topic. It's running scarce. Is those stupid Joy-Cons. Do you guys notice now Nintendo has up on the site? They have like the color picker.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody mention that yet on the news websites, but you must have just been cruising Nintendo.com.
No, I don't know.
It was on Twitter.
No, actually, Nintendo's site actually came up in my Google feed. Just direct to Nintendo. No news article.
Yeah.
But
it's very reminiscent of the Japanese site where you can choose what color Joy-Con you want.
And now here's the thing: is I was pretty sure I had heard some blurb not too far back that the UK the UK Nintendo store site had something similar. So now
we should probably explain what it is since we know, but anyone listening might not.
It just lets you go pick colors of Joy-Cons. The thing that's so goofy about it for me in the US is it says here you can pick this color, that color, whatever, and then it shows you like pictures and links to like Best Buy or whatever. Like it's pretty much useless.
It's just so you can see what the Switch would look like with those color of Joy-Con on them.
Yeah, but it's not like
multiple pictures with multiple positions of the Joy-Con, so you can see how they pair together.
Oh yeah, and with all the little stupid straps they sell for an extra $8, the little
so you can pick out your dream set of Joy-Con.
Mm-hmm. But
so
it's just well, that's the thing is it's kind of it's lacking the whole point if you can't buy them right there. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of why that site was set up in Japan and Europe. But it's like over here, there's it's got to be some weird deal with our big brick and mortar stores where they don't want them to do it, or some non-compete agreement or something. But it's like here, you can pick out your Joy-Cons and then, well, that's good for you. Now go to Best Buy and find them.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I know that companies like Nintendo and stuff, I believe the way that it works in the retail world is they actually have to kind of rent that shelf space from the retailers. So, but I've noticed the Switch sections don't seem humongous still at any of the stores, really.
Nope.
So, first they got to have stock, obviously, which is, of course, what we're talking about. But
there's still a Nintendo row at Best Buy. And that's as big as, say, the PlayStation row, I think. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think Xbox has like both sides of the row. I think Microsoft.
Yeah, because they're also still running PS3 and PS4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. But Nintendo, that Wii U stuff just disappeared.
It's gone. Yeah, no, they got a bunch of old 3DS stuff floating around, but you're right. Most of the Wii U stuff is gone.
And all
whereas Toys R Us still has Wii stuff.
Yeah. That's true.
Really?
That's true. Yeah, the games.
My Best Buy, I think, still has like Super Mario Wii and like some of the Nintendo Selects ones for Wii. They probably got a Just Dance there.
Just Dance 2017.
Yeah, which did come out for Wii.
Yeah.
Which scratches or makes me scratch my head. Like that's somebody. I would love to see the sales numbers on how well the Wii versions of those Just Dance games do every year, because it must do well enough that they keep making it for Wii.
Well, here's the thing, though, is I wonder how much effort it is to pump out a new one. Do they just put a couple new tracks on it and call it a day? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, probably. It's just like
It might
it's like
be
with
like a
EA. It's like with Madden
12
football. They're just
Yeah, they just update the roster. It's just like a database
Yeah.
download. Here you go, new game. Yeah.
shoot it out. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see the Super NES stock situation. I expect not let us down before, so I'm expecting this will be the same. But they are at least acknowledging stuff to some degree now, where before that it was always like, what problem? There's no problem.
You'll get
Everyone
one.
who
Don't worry.
wanted one got it
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Let me pose this question then. Why do you think they have suddenly started to do this? Is it because there was such an outrage from the previous announcement? People said, I'm over this.
I think it was
I
the
think with the
pre-order
NES
debacle.
Classic, yeah, that.
Well, I think it was I think what caused them to finally really have to address it was all the pre-order problems with the SNES
Yeah.
Classic, and then people are like, okay, you're doing it again. Like when they posted the thing about I remember their Twitter post about the rewind feature, and there was like 500 replies in a couple hours, and I was reading through them, and I didn't see a single positive one. Like every one of them was an
that's
angry,
one thing Nintendo's
angry
always
tweet.
been good about, is putting out an ad for something after it's already completely sold out in pre-orders,
Mhm.
and then it's
Wait,
like
they
you guys.
actually pay attention to the Twitter comments, because like I've never seen them like respond to a single one ever.
No, but they have to be aware.
There's a marketing. I guarantee you, there's somebody that works in the marketing department that is sifting through all of those and giving a boss updates somewhere as to the general public reaction.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Like,
yeah, and that was a resounding, pitchforks and torches response to that tweet.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure no matter what, they're enough of an advanced company that they at least have an idea of what their public perception is, and everything, when all those articles that came out when the Super NES Classic got announced that were just like, here we go again. It's like it can't look good, and they need to court all the people they can.
Did they announce that they might be doing an N64 mini too, or did I just imagine that?
I don't think so. I think that's
there have been
speculation.
Rumors. Yeah, was somebody else saying? I heard rumors swirling around, but
it's the next logical step. But they're gonna have to delay it so they can do more NES Classics next year.
I remember that. And if they did announce it, it came up because I was right when I was about to sell my N64, and something came up online. I guess it was just a rumor, and I was like, oh crap, because the guy who bought it from me, he like canceled on me, and I was like, I'm gonna have to relist it, and then they're releasing it later. But actually, he paid for it, so it was fine. But it wasn't that much anyway. It was only like $61.
Here's a random question. Just out of this small group of people here. Is anybody besides me a little bit annoyed that Eric sold that off?
Yeah, definitely.
Traitor.
Or
he's actually probably the well-adjusted one. He's like, hey, I don't use it. I don't need it. I'll get rid of it.
I'm obsessed with selling stuff that I don't use. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do that. If it says Nintendo on it, I don't.
He's not going to pass that burden on to his children like we will. When they go to
I've thought about what I'm going to tell my children on my deathbed. It's like, okay, there's all this stuff. Here's the key. You are the keeper and the curator of the Nintendo collection now for the rest of your life. And when you die, you must pass it on to your great grandchildren.
Meanwhile, the next month they're like, "Well, I sold all Dad's Nintendo stuff. I only got $500 out of it."
And I will be rolling over in my grave.
But yeah, I don't know. When's this NES? Is this November? I think the Super NES.
I thought it was October.
Is it?
It was right around.
I think it's October. Also, I can't remember.
I thought it was like the week before Super Mario. Like they want to knock this Christmas out of the park.
The problem with it is, at some point, as much as Nintendo talks about how they have to kind of they want to engage everybody. You know, they don't want to just speak to their core audience. They also want to get other people. It's like with the NES Classic, if that was supposed to lure people back to Nintendo hardware, like they always talk about wanting to do, like even the people who own Nintendo hardware already didn't get their hands on that one. So how could they have picked up anybody new?
Oh,
They
wow.
seem to
September
enjoy.
29th, by the way, gentlemen,
Oh
ladies.
wow!
When's that?
That's not far away. September 29th.
Oh,
Wow. They seem to
everybody set your
enjoy
alarm
like
clock.
trolling their core base though. Like everyone who bought a
Kind
Wii
of.
U.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
it's
can-
like when it's like the big brother that's like holding the toy over the kid's head. Like,
yeah.
and that's
Yeah,
kind of
kind
how
of.
it feels, you know.
And it
They're
is,
always
and you're right. And most of us are, Wii U owners. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
they're always trying to like reach out to further their base, but they're always like ignoring the core, or just trolling us and like not giving us the NES classics that we want. And yeah, they just seem to
Which
like really not care about their core fan base.
Well, that's what I thought that whole announcement of that next year they say,
Oh yeah.
although they put it out August of 2018, I think they said, or summer of 2018. I don't know if they nailed it down with a release date, but that they were going to reissue the NES Classic. It seems like it's a little bit of a concession on their part. Now we'll see. Like Z has said, we'll see if they can actually deliver on it. But obviously, there's going to be some more coming out. It'll be
Yeah.
also interesting to see if the price point's the same. I wouldn't doubt that they throw in like double the length of the controller cord, since that's what everyone bitched about, and then be like, oh, by the way, it's also $100 now. But
Right.
but we'll see. This one's new and improved because I mean GameStop and ThinkGeek like bundling it in with crap that nobody wants.
What's
And
an
selling it
example of
for
what's an
huh?
example of one of the pieces of crap nobody wants that they bundled it with?
Like they'll have
Well,
like
there
a
was some
Breath of
stupid
the
helmet.
Wild clock or a
Oh
Breath of the
wow.
Wild wristwatch,
They had a
and
Mega
then
Man helmet. They had some goofy
yeah,
looking Mega Man helmet, like giant size, like
and
Hey,
it's
not.
fine. It's cool.
that's
Somebody might
that's
want that, but they're not
that's
going to
just
spend
good
an extra
customer
60
service.
on it.
Yeah, that's what
Ooh,
GameStop was saying. That's customer service.
they're upselling you. Yeah,
That's
We're,
good customer service.
that's a value added bundle right there.
Yeah.
Um,
To me,
but
they just
yeah,
don't get
I mean,
GameStop overall.
everybody knows that if you really want to, you can put both items into your cart individually. So, um, I'm pretty sure most of the people that bought them when they had the chance to do that did not bundle those together.
Right.
So they know what they're doing. But
Exactly.
I mean, who knows? That would be, even if Nintendo was just like, we're going to cater to our core audience 25% of the time, and do what we want 75% of the time. That would still be an improvement.
Yeah.
And they are to some degree. Obviously, they're listening a little bit. There is another Metroid game coming.
That's
Um,
true.
that people complained about for years. We'll see if they ever come through on F-Zero. Um, but I mean, they're at least, it seems like they're kind of paying a little bit more attention, whereas
Yeah.
before they were always silent.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, was it last E3 or two E3? I guess it was two E3s ago. Reggie was like, "Our job is not to give you what you want. Our job is to give you what you didn't know you wanted." And I was like, "Cut that crap!"
like scarcity.
Well, yeah. Well, he just meant with games. I think he's probably talking about Metroid Prime Federation Force.
And that statement might play into what they're trying to do this Christmas with, the Switch is going to be hard to get, but we assure you we'll have enough, Super Nintendo classics. I have a feeling they're just trying to drive people to the Switch.
Yeah.
I still have a feeling this is going to be really hard to get, and a lot of people will think, well, but the Switch is supposed to be hard to get too, and hey, there's one there, I'll grab it.
It would be so much
Pretty
better if
clever.
they had a proper virtual console in place to be like, well, you can't get those games here, but you can get them on the Switch. That.
No, that's true. That's the component.
Although
That's
that would be a
missing
cheap
to
move that
that whole
everybody would
marketing
complain about
strategy.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, if they did that, they'd get burned at the burned at the stake too. So, there's not really a good way to do that. But yeah, at least so we didn't talk too much about that. But yeah, Reggie says can't really guarantee that there's going to be They're going to be a lot of stock for Christmas, but he can't guarantee it's going to be enough to meet demand, which he could be hyping it up.
9 months after launch, we can't meet demand.
But as he says, it is out of his hands. It's out of Nintendo's hands.
Yeah.
We all say, yeah,
But
right.
the Wii was like that too, you know.
It was.
Yeah, the Wii was impossible to
hard
get
to
for
get,
that first Christmas.
Nintendo's stock, well, first Christmas, exactly, but it had come out that Christmas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know,
it came out before.
Yeah, exactly. This is now, they had way more ramp up time. You know what I mean? They said they were doing this so that they would be able to ramp up for the Christmas season. I don't know. I don't buy it. Nintendo's stock is through the roof. They have purchasing power. You know what I mean? They've got the clout to push this stuff through, I would think.
Yeah.
What's their stock at now? Like 40 something?
You'd have to look up the numbers and report back to us. I just know it was up, it was down, it was pretty well in the toilet. And then the Switch buzz has just had it climbing since. Well, remember immediately after the Switch announcement, it went down. Everyone's like, "What the hell is this crap?" And hey, pre-orders are gone in a day. Well, that sounds good. Stock tips up a little bit. Oh, hey, there's lines around the block for launch.
Yeah.
Stock ticks up a little bit. You know what I mean?
I remember when it went over 40 was when Pokemon Go came out.
Well, it corrected itself very quickly as people figured out, oh, Nintendo only owns like a third of Game Freak or whatever. Yeah.
But I don't have any doubt that this time next year the Switch will probably have outsold lifetime Wii U's. You know, like they're on a right path.
That's a very low bar, man.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no, I don't mean. I just mean in response to Eric's, really, because I think that's.
Oh no! I thought he said lifetime Wii sales. You said Wii U. Oh yeah, no
Wii
problem.
U, yeah.
No.
I mean, that's.
There's no way Nintendo could produce that many in a year. Sorry, go ahead, Mo.
No. That's I was just saying that. Yeah. Well, they said they're promising now that I think they said over 10 million for the fiscal year, which I think their fiscal year ends in like March or something.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
what?
You know, there's going to be at least 10 million.
I know what. Their fiscal year ends in March. That's
weird.
Whose
fiscal year ends in March?
What?
Maybe a Japan thing. I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, they're gonna have a lot of Switches out there. Demand is high. I was really worried when the Switch came out that it was gonna be the hot flash in the pan thing, and that it would come out, everybody wanted it, and then when they couldn't get it, they would move on and be like, I don't really want it. And I think they probably did lose a ton of sales that way.
What is lifetime Wii U sales anyway? Is it 30 million or is it under that?
No, I thought
like 12
it was like
or something.
Yeah, I thought it was like 13
or
13? Something.
Wow.
I don't know. I can probably 13.5 million. That was as of February. So,
wow.
You know, if they're gonna have 10 by next March,
no problem.
sold. Yeah. So, I mean, they're doing well with it. Things are looking good, but they just have to kind of sustain it. And you know, we all know stock stuff, at least with the Switch, is gonna fix itself. It's just these things with the minis that you never know. Like I said, I think everybody kind of took it as a punch in the gut when they were just like, "Hey, by the way, we're no longer making this NES Classic." Like, it just why? What do you have against money?
Would you guys
portray that announcement? It was like it was, currently available on the store shelves everywhere. It's like, okay, we're going to be discontinuing it, so you better buy what's out there. But
hey, heads up, guys, buy them all right now because there are not going to be any more coming. But yeah, it was.
And then, but there weren't any to buy. Yeah, it's like
I mean, I can legitimately say I have never seen an NES Classic in person.
I saw.
Me neither.
I've seen two. One was that picture I sent you that had that $289 price tag on it.
Yeah.
Right. That at that little swap meet, and then the other one, I saw a chick with one in a bag back during the fervor, who had probably stood out in front of a GameStop. It was a GameStop bag, so she probably stood out in front of that GameStop for days or just gotten lucky mashing something, but it was just the thing. She didn't seem to be carrying around a Zelda hood or a, any sort of
wristwatch or a wall painting.
Yeah, like
or a hang glider.
a Pip Boy or a whatever the hell. No, Pip Boy. This
Pip Boy.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I remember the day that the NES Classic. That was one of those irresponsible days at work where I'm like, well, I know the NES Classic's coming out, and then I'm like, guys, I got to go run an errand, and I left work and I went to Best Buy. It was about a half hour before Best Buy opened, and there was already a line out the door, and everybody had their paper in their hand that was for that they when they know they're getting something that they'll give them like the little pre-order.
The little
paper
ticket,
or
and
whatever.
I was like, well, I'm definitely not going to get one. So I just turned around. I didn't even wait till the store opened. I was just like, yep, they're sold out.
I've had that moment more times than I would care to admit, that where you pull into a parking lot and you see the line and you're just like, okay, screw this.
But hey, at least we're not in North Korea where they're doing that for bread, probably.
Right.
Fair enough.
Do any of you have TaskRabbit in your cities? The app TaskRabbit?
I've heard of it, but I haven't
You
downloaded it. We probably have. I'm sure we have it around here. But
It just came in Las Vegas, and you can hire someone to stand in line for you and buy something. But I think you got to pay them like $15 an hour. So
what if it's something like the NES Classic and they don't come through?
Or you you pay them to stand in line for you, and then they decide, you know what, I'm going to cancel this contract.
But I mean, how?
Right.
Nintendo is almost one of the only companies, like outside of the Christmas rush for your Furbies or toys like that, to your Tickle Me Elmos, that it's like you can show up at the store on the day you know that they're coming in, and you have to line up before the store opens to have a chance to maybe buy for the right and the privilege to maybe acquire their product that they're trying to sell and make money off of.
Right.
Like, that I feel like puts people through that. Like, I know PS4 and Xbox have big launches, like when it's the system, but this isn't even a core system. Like,
right.
This is just a novelty.
In Japan, they have to play paper rock scissors for
the Switches.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of surprised, because I always felt like Nintendo kind of favors their Japanese audience, which you can't fault them for, since it's the home team.
But they're looking for the money.
Like Japan's kind of getting a raw deal.
Well, they're going where the money is right now. I think. I think where they're going for the biggest markets. So I do.
Yeah, ultimately that is a better strategy. You want to get established in the U.S. because it's a much larger population and they're going to make a lot more money. But I just feel bad that, as a consolation, they get Monster Hunter Double Cross.
And they also need to attract Western developers, and there's, what I mean. It's a lot harder for them to do that when they're so Japan centric.
Well, that's been a big shift too. Is there's a lot more Western developers now than even like 10 years ago.
True. They've been recording a lot of,
thing.
and a lot of them are like indie developers. Interestingly enough, but that's all well and good. But they're getting the likes of, the big names back over here to some degree or other. Rockstar, LA Noir is big news. Which I think is that a good segue to our next topic, LA Noir?
Perfect.
Yeah,
and the Switch tax, or that one's going to cost us $10 extra. That title than it will on other platforms, at least the physical version, the download is going to be $10 cheaper, isn't it? On that one, we know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is just the cartridge thing. Yeah. And the thing is that's so idiotic about that is the fact that I go to Best Buy or pre-order. Now it's only pre-orders from Amazon, but I can get, it's so backwards that I can get 20% off the physical media, and the download version that costs them nothing to distribute costs me 20% more. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember who else did I don't know if well, Sonic Mania, well, they had that crazy statue though, I guess, for their physical one, but I have noticed a few other
Well, and for the download,
ones were
right?
doing the download only being cheaper, which I respect that because they're basically telling you, yes, this is where this extra cost is going to, and if you're willing to just download the file,
No,
we'll give
as
it to you
Yeah,
cheaper.
and
I agree, as it should be. The first game that I ever saw that was like that was Nintendo did that with, I'm pretty sure, more like Brain Age or something. One of their 3DS games, the download version was cheaper than the cartridge version right out of the gate, and it seemed like they were just kind of dipping their toe in on that concept because it was the only one that was like that. I'm pretty sure it was that Devil Brain Age one, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, Devilish Training. Yeah, I don't remember which one it was, but I mean, LA Noire. It's I remember it. It seems like it's so long ago now, and I heard that game being talked about. I remember that was one of the ones where they talked about how great the face acting and stuff like that was in it. It's being remastered right now, I believe, for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So there's like, while we're remastering it and making it better for these other systems, let's just stick the old one onto the Switch. I'm assuming it's probably not the remaster. How dare I assume that?
Well, you know what? I have a feeling it might be, but not like lacking much of what makes a remaster. Just because it's scaled down for the Switch. But you know what I mean? If
But
they
also at this
if
point,
they
when we're remastering a
rebuilt,
game from a few years ago, how much better can it get?
but true. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not like they're remastering something from 20 years ago, but
Right.
I just mean it's if they're building out a new issue of the game effectively, I assume that's what's getting ported to Switch. You know what I mean? Like Skyrim, the version of Skyrim that's on Switch is not necessarily the special edition, but I imagine it's not the original engine either. You know what I mean? I imagine it's either something that had to be built for the Switch from the ground up, or something that evolved from the remaster special whatever edition.
Well, when Minecraft came to Wii U, it's like it was Nintendo Edition that had some Mario stuff thrown in, but I think was missing a bunch of the other stuff.
Oh.
I believe.
Have you noticed anything major in the Skyrim department, Max? I know you are expert here.
It looks about the same as it does in the PS3 and the Xbox 360.
Yeah,
Oh.
I guess that's kind of what we would expect. Yeah.
But I'm imagining my Khajiit wearing the Link's outfit. Oh gosh, yeah, I'd buy it for
Does that
that.
do anything for you?
Makes me want to
Does
play the game.
Does that make so that's enough to sell you on it? Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
I sometimes wonder about that when they just throw a skin into a game. But I think the portability is one thing that's so cool. That's what interests me the most about LA Noire is not LA Noire. It's the fact that we've got Rockstar back on a Nintendo platform, and maybe that would give us the possibility of a GTA 5 or GTA 4.
And it's
Yeah.
and
So
in a real
portable.
capacity, it's a full 3D game on a portable Nintendo platform. Because like most of these big devs had something out for 3DS, just because 3DS was a big enough platform, had a big enough install base. But it's not right. There's only Resident Evil the Resident Evil Revelations that got ported to the big consoles was an exception, but for the most part they were like if there was parity between a 3DS title and then a console title, and they did this with the DS era too. Like the DS one would be a 2D top down or side scroller, whereas the big console one would be a full 3D game. So now at least like the Switch seems like it's not. I mean, we have the Switch tax or whatever we call it, right? Where there's always some negative, some caveat to the Switch game. There's missing a feature or whatever it is, but at least it's not like there's always a catch, but it's it's not like the 3DS where it's like this is totally just like a mini game.
Right.
as
Well, the lone
compared
ray
to,
of hope is
yeah.
that I mean, we know the Switch is at least as powerful as a PS3. You know, so it's like, or an Xbox 360. So, you know, you're still only about a generation back, and there were some pretty nice looking games a generation back, and to have them portable, you know, we're going to start seeing, there's not really a whole lot on the Switch right now that would be like the same kind of scope as Breath of the Wild. And now we're going to be able to start seeing some of those games, even if they're a generation old, that are just kind of these bigger open world games.
Yeah,
And that's
you're right. The
exciting.
Switch, it's not quite the weakest of this generation. It's like the strongest of last generation.
Last,
Kinda.
right?
Yeah, it's right. It's in between. I know it is more powerful than a 360 or a PS3, but it's closer to them than it is to the OG X-Bone, which is the weakest of this generation's hardware.
Yeah.
But it is, you know, it's closer. It's closer than they've been, I think, to the front than they've been in a few generations since the Cube, right? They've been
it's actually kind
much
of
further
impressive since
behind.
it's also a portable console. It's actually kind of impressive that it's you said
That it's
as
even
powerful as
comparable,
it,
that it's even
yeah.
close. Yeah, that
Yeah.
it's even remotely close, and it's handheld is pretty damn impressive. Yes.
Yeah. And the screen looks better than any Nintendo screen's ever looked.
Well, low bar there, but props. It's a pretty screen. I mean, right when we all heard, 720 screen, oh great, Nintendo's buying the top again. My phone has a 1080p screen, but you know what? I can't see pixels on this thing. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah, it
not
looks fine.
even holding it up to my face. It looks good enough to me, man.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
going back to that Switch text, did you guys read the article where they said that they don't really have a choice because cartridges are more expensive, and if the game's bigger than, was it 32 gigabytes, then
Yeah, that's the yeah, and so you know, expect the cartridges to cost $10 more. It seems to be is the standard going rate for a big AAA game. Because
yeah,
you're mentioning about the bigger cartridges costing more than the smaller cartridges, right?
yeah,
So like, yeah,
and
something that
and
would fit on a.
also
Oh, go ahead.
that the cartridges cost more than a disc would, but disc doesn't really make sense for a portable system.
Yeah, yeah, and so like I guess, but right, a 4 gig cartridge, I guess, isn't that much more, or 4 or 8 gig memory card isn't that much more, you know. So in most cases, we're not going to see, at least the from the what I've been reading, in most cases for smaller games, we're not going to really see a price difference if it's you know, a
Yeah,
multiplat. But on the big AAA games where it's a big, you know, chunk of data, it's a, you know, a big 24, 32 or bigger game,
yeah,
then they have to pay more for that bigger memory card, for each cartridge. So that increases the per unit cost, and there you go.
And
Does it
that can
increase
come
the per
down
unit
too.
cost by $10? No, I'm certain
oh,
it
and
doesn't
then
increase the per
and
unit
I don't
cost by
know,
$10. But
yeah,
go ahead.
I don't know, when you guys buy eShop games, I guess I don't know if it depends on what state you live in, but I don't pay any tax. Do you guys pay tax when
Some
you
people
buy
pay
eShop
tax,
games?
right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
I don't either.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so
You guys
Illinois
set up as Alaskans.
what
I don't
about
understand.
Alaskans?
There's something with California, like I have to pay. There's like a thing on my taxes every year for internet purchases or
Oh,
whatever I'm supposed to itemize.
Well, you're supposed to,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so I
And
think
you
that's just
absolutely do. You hear
I
that,
think
everybody?
that's
He
how it
does it.
handled. Well, I don't itemize them. No, I honestly ballpark it. You know,
oh, oh, you do.
whatever,
Oh,
whatever.
Don't act so surprised, Eric. Of course he
And
does.
I just make sure I claim a few deductions that add up to the same amount as whatever I bought on the internet. You know, no, I mean, whatever. It doesn't add up to that much because, right, most things say on Amazon I pay tax on. The eShop is really the only thing I can think of, that across the board I don't pay any tax. onesie twosie, I don't pay tax here or there on Amazon, and I don't. In most other sites I can think of, I pay tax. So, and it doesn't add up too much, but I pay it.
I don't have to pay tax when I buy it. Oh, what were we gonna say, Jason?
I think I was going to say the same thing. You don't have to pay tax when you buy an actual eShop card, right?
No.
Correct.
No, I don't think so.
No, but they get you on the back end usually when you're buying it. At least I do. Like in my state, I get taxed sales tax on eShop games.
Right. I was meaning for Z, who was saying. I was wondered if it was different.
Yeah, no, I don't get taxed on the card, nor do I get taxed on the game. But then I guess it's supposed to be up to me. I don't know why it's just, like it's required in some states, and then in other states they don't build it in. I'm right. The technology is obviously there to do it if it does it in some states. So
I'm in Illinois and we're bankrupt, so
how it works.
We're gonna make sure they get every penny.
Maybe that's it.
Well, I'm in Nevada, and our state is poor too. They like to tax because we don't have a state income tax. They like to tax anything you buy, but for some reason, I don't have to pay tax on eShop games. But of course, we do if you buy a cartridge. And then if I buy something from Nintendo's online store, I pay tax on that too. But it's actually a physical thing, so maybe that's why.
A while back, the governor over there declared a state of emergency because they were running out of weed, right?
Yeah. Oh wait, no, I don't think he declared a state of emergency, but yeah, we were running out of weed though.
I thought
martial law.
Well, what it was the tax money from the weed was already earmarked for some government program that was going to have to shutter because it couldn't be funded because they didn't, you know what I mean? Because there was a weed shortage, therefore they weren't getting the tax money they were expecting to get, they had budgeted for, as I understood.
I think it was going towards the schools, and now they're like 60 million under budget.
Yeah, something like that because they ran out of weed. Yeah.
Now the kids have to sell edibles for their field trip.
Has there ever been a weed reference of any kind in any game on a Nintendo platform that anybody can think of?
Maybe Narc?
Definitely Narc. Was Narc on Nintendo?
That's right.
Narc no, I don't remember if
on Nintendo, didn't it?
Well, there was the Wally and the Just Say No gang for NES.
Well, is there a weed reference in LA Noire?
Maybe, but that's a vintage thing. I don't know if I can't remember if Chinatown Wars. I'm sure that had some drug references.
Yeah, it did.
DS,
but I don't
no,
think
they keep it pretty clean. That's why I think if like a GTA came, that would be so significant to just be like, hey, we're gonna adult it up a little bit here.
Well, I mean, and it was kind of groundbreaking when they got some of these like Binding of Isaac and some of these other weirder indie titles that would normally have kind of these weird controversial themes that they would have totally shied away from in the heyday. So they've kind of popped that cherry. I think a big AAA game like Grand Theft Auto I think would be the next huge step for them. And I don't know, it would be a big deal, man. You're right.
I mean, Wii U launched with Ninja Gaiden that had, I believe, some blood in it, and Zombie U. I mean, they were pretending to court the hardcores then.
They tried. That's true.
Yeah, Mass Effect 3. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be a while, I think, before we start seeing like a Doom or a Wolfenstein coming. But you never know.
They might announce Grand Theft Auto 5 or 4 tomorrow for Nintendo.
They could. Yeah, there's a
5 would be doable. I think somebody pointed out earlier that 5 was on 360 and PS3, so that's totally.
So it's completely doable.
But you pointed out, Z, that since they already just announced LA Noire, it's probably unlikely that they're gonna just pop out with Grand Theft Auto 5.
I would be surprised if it was kind of back to back like that. But as Mo says, and as much of the internet has also kind of gotten their panties in a wad about, is this does open the door for something like a Grand Theft Auto on a Switch. So I'm curious. I'm interested. After
step in the right direction.
it's a step in the right direction. The top-down Grand Theft Auto, I played the crap out of on PC back in the day, and I've not hardly touched a Grand Theft Auto game since. So I could care less, but I know it's a big deal from a demographic standpoint in terms of trying to attract a bigger audience.
Well, if I was Rockstar, I would say, there's one specific segment of the gaming population that I have never been able to get my product out to.
And those are the hardcore Nintendo loyalists. Yeah.
Yeah. And now, it's like you might as well get everybody. So from that aspect, it's good. I think it would help from Nintendo's aspect to not necessarily just be like, there's that underpowered kiddie console.
Aren't they due for like a Grand Theft Auto 6 now? Like, how many years ago was 5?
It's been a couple. I think.
It's been a little while, but wasn't it right about the launch of wasn't it kind of the swan song of the PS3 and X360 generation?
Yeah, I think it was right around there. Yeah.
Did it dual launch? I'm trying to remember. I thought that one dual launched on the new consoles, or maybe it came out a little bit later on the new consoles.
I don't know if it was dual. It seems like it was probably one of those October kind of things, but I don't remember. It was right around there though. But isn't it like the greatest selling game of all time?
You know what though? I would like to have the option of some of those. I like there's this guy at work who's all into Destiny. That's what kills me is Nintendo needs an MMO, and they don't have one. The consoles have had them for a while. PCs have had them forever. Nintendo has nothing. Like I want something when I don't want to necessarily, like if I don't have the energy in me for Splatoon or whatever, or ARMS as I want something like when in WoW, if I didn't have the energy to go do a 3-hour dungeon raid or whatever, I would still log in and there would be little random maintenance stuff I would do, or I would just hang out in the town area because it was just a social environment. There's chat. Oh, hey, there's somebody on I know. Chat with them a little bit. Oh, hey, I just leveled up to whatever. It just there's a social environment that and Miiverse was kind of a substitute for that, right? Miiverse just did the job that gave me a reason to turn on the 3DS or the Wii U when I wasn't necessarily going to play a game or watch a movie or whatever. I wanted some sort of, hey, what's going on with people? I need that social contact. And Splatoon,
and it'd be nice if it wasn't a Nintendo themed one. Like, I don't want to see a world where you play as a Toad and everybody else plays as a Toad, and in a Mario MMO. Like,
I wouldn't mind if about a new property of some type, like they did with Splatoon.
Or how about a zombie U MMO?
That's Ubisoft anyway. It's got to be a Nintendo property.
If they did it would be a Fire Emblem or Monster Hunter's Capcom, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, you kind of brought up its own little hitch there. Is Nintendo is straying away from any kind of online social environment and saying you need to do that on Twitter or Facebook or somewhere else, and would bringing an MMO to a Nintendo console, is that bringing up the issue of social interaction that Nintendo doesn't want to have to deal with?
It seemed you're right. It seems antithetical to their whole mindset right now, doesn't it? You make a very good point.
Well, even with the 3DS friends and Miiverse, they pretty much wanted you only to interact with people that you knew. They didn't want you to meet new people. And that kind of blew up, and people did meet new people. So now they're like, well, go back to Twitter now or Facebook or something where it's only people who already know you that are going to see your stuff.
Well, I mean, you can do a base MMO without, without voice chat, for example.
Without voice chat.
Yeah. Let the voice chat still be on the phone or whatever BS they want to do. It can just, it's got to have some basic chat capability in it, though. And I think you could do a Zelda MMO. They built the world. If they took all the effort that they've put into Breath of the Wild and said, okay, this is going to be the first continent for our big Zelda MMO, they would be onto something there. You know what I mean? It's because the only thing
that like with Hyrule Warriors, they could just do Legend of Zelda Craft, where it's like, ooh, I want to play as a Gerudo.
Yeah, no, totally. They could do it. They could make races. I mean, if they really wanted to sit down and sort of not really clone Warcraft, but at least go down the same thought process, they could build out something that would be gorgeous, that would be bigger than Pokemon Go, that everybody would be all over and it would make them tons of money. They won't do it, and that's just because they're Nintendo. But it's
Well,
as you said, Jason, I really like your point, though. It really is an MMO at this point is all about a social environment, and that's what the Switch is just devoid of. Like, there's nothing I can do with
definitely.
my friends list except see that you're on and what you're playing.
Yep.
That's it. It doesn't even tell me you're on. Like in the Wii U would tell me if you just had the thing on. Now it doesn't even tell me that. It only tells me if you're actually playing a game. Like if you just have the system turned on and you're browsing even the eShop or whatever, nope,
Oh yeah, I won't tell you.
doesn't tell me.
I was just about to
Well,
ask,
you're
what
just
would you have it
offline.
on for if you weren't playing a game? Because
Well, I do that a lot for what do I do?
Or reading the news thing.
For reading the
You
news
do.
thing.
nobody looks at that.
Looking at what?
The
No,
news.
What do you?
he said no one looks at the news.
Oh, the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I
sometimes.
do just to get like boomerangs and stuff. Did you see the
Apples.
egg one? The egg one was
Yeah.
funny, right? The eggs fall out of the sky and just shatter, so you don't like you basically have to be in water or something when you log in, or you're screwed.
Well, people thought Nintendo wouldn't release a mobile game either, but they did that. But no, I don't think they'll do an MMO though. Even though they could with this online service, they're going to start charging for, which will just basically be the same thing. They're just charging you for it
Oh,
now.
guys.
If they
what
do
about Animal Crossing MMO?
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
I would
We
pay
don't
for
have to
that.
give up our lives for that.
I would
Right.
a Pokemon MMO would have to be would get the higher placement over the Animal Crossing
Yeah.
MMO.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Animal
But
Crossing might be more
honestly,
appropriate for it, though.
An animal, we see that's the thing is what they might want to do is dip their toe in, right, and not go with Pokemon for the MMO first. Go for Animal Crossing as a thing. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, right? The whole point of that game was social interaction on a limited level.
Mhm.
That game has chat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How you get people's Twitter accounts and off of
that's
Meavers.
true. I could see a Animal Crossing MMO being kind of cool, except that you got to have team up missions of some kind. Like they would really have to build out more stuff to do, because the
other
whole point of Animal
than
Crossing
Wax.
is
Instead
that
of
there's
having
not all that
your
much
own
to
town,
do.
you just have an apartment in a building in a city.
Oh, kind
Yeah,
of like
and then-
Tomodachi Life.
Yeah, and it can be, and there'll be all the NPCs will be animals, but otherwise you go out and do dungeons, and and they can be reasonably non-violent dungeons, but it's got to be something. There's got to be a reason to keep playing it beyond just collecting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they-
I think, I don't know. I
They
don't know
kind
if
of did co-op
they
playing
branch
with
out.
the island.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
got
did.
in.
But it's
But-
mini games. It would need to be
Right.
something a lot more substantial. But that general idea,
Ooh.
totally.
They could do a Monster Hunter MMO.
Yeah, no, that's Capcom, as
Yeah.
somebody
Oh,
pointed
damn
out.
it.
But it is. But that would be a natural extension because it already
Yeah.
is a mini. Like it's a step that direction already.
Yeah.
They could do it.
But anyway, so tomorrow's a big direct, which I think is interesting to me. The most interesting part is the fact that it's longer than their E3 presentation.
Huh.
It's on par
Wow.
with the Switch launch.
Yeah, they're saying 45 minutes.
Oh.
Ooh.
But
Wondering if
I'm
there's-
trying to
yeah.
think. Remember that one Rapid Fire Direct? That was still a pretty long one, wasn't it?
I think it was around 25 minutes, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Yeah.
I guess that's longish these days. 45 minutes. This is their big Christmas kickoff. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly, I feel like a lot of it's going to be spent on stuff that we already know about, just going more
Yep.
in depth.
Of course. Yeah.
So-
Does
Yeah.
anyone expect any announcement tomorrow that you didn't see coming?
Surprise!
I-
Surprise! Smash for Switch.
I don't think anything that big. I think they will drop at least one or two little surprise announcements, but they might not be anything terribly exciting. They might just be some other indie game or something. But I feel like if it's a 45-minute presentation, and this is arguably, depending on when you consider the beginning of the Christmas season, but right, isn't this when like Apple always announces their new iPhone, right? Didn't it just get
They
announced?
just
Like they
did
did
today.
today.
Yeah.
See, like it seems like all the cell phone manufacturers announce around this time, and I think like there's other technology companies that do the same thing. This seems to be like the beginning of the ramp up. This is when all of the early nerds like us are watching before the general public is, for the next big thing. So I think that's what this is going to be. So I do think there might be. I'm hoping anyway there'll be some neat little announcement. Maybe they'll show a little bit of Metroid Prime 4. I doubt it. I think that will be a total no-show today.
Show a black and white pencil sketch.
No, I don't even think they'll bring it up.
Well, it's going to be 30 minutes of Mario Odyssey.
I hope they don't do that. The problem with Nintendo Directs is that they're not made for us. I don't think they're made for anyone. They make it as though it's like a press conference for people who know nothing about Nintendo to tune in and see what Nintendo's doing. And really the only people probably watching them are the hardcore people that already know about half the stuff.
It's presented as if they bought an hour like 20 years ago on a major network channel, like at prime time. Yeah, it's like they bought. It's like it's like an infomercial, and it's like this is something that the general public's going to tune into, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's not at all. It's us. It's us. It's the people that are pissed off because we couldn't get a NES Classic. It's the people who are pissed off because we bought a Wii U, and we feel like you just basically pulled the plug on us and told us not to let the door hit our ass on the way out.
It's the people who hate them but just can't stop giving them money.
We just can't quit them. We just, I
just don't know how to quit you. I expect they're probably going to talk on Skyrim. They'll probably touch on Rocket League. We'll probably get the Zelda DLC pack. Some more info on that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
What time is it starting?
Tomorrow.
Is it noon?
I think it seems like it's noon central, but don't hold me.
Oh, that's actually good. A lot of times they start it at like some god awful hour, like 6 a.m. Pacific, or
they have been doing that a little bit. Yeah, that's weird.
Let me see if I can find the time here, so we can be correct.
It will be 6 p.m. Eastern. So 3 p.m. Pacific.
A lot of them. It seems like a lot of them lately have been in the afternoon. I've noticed. Because I kind of plan my workday around it.
I still feel like there is a big hole in the February-March time frame. So
they're going to announce.
I'm wondering if they'll have anything to throw in there.
This specifically said just for this holiday coming to 3DS and Switch mobile games.
At E3 they specifically said they were only going to talk about games that were being released this year. They told us about Yoshi and Kirby and Metroid. So they didn't tell us really anything about Metroid. So they've always got a little something up their sleeve. You would think.
Did Miyamoto create Metroid 2?
No, that was
no.
That was not him. That was not.
Okay. Maybe that's why they don't give it that much love, or haven't given it for past 25 years.
Well, it's because people haven't financially given it much love. It's not. It's not. Right. It's like it's such a beloved series, yet people don't. When they come out, they don't throw their money behind it. Although, arguably, I think Prime was the best one. Yeah,
I thought Prime did pretty well on Wii. That sold a lot of copies, as far as I understand. I don't think GameCube, nothing sold a lot of copies because it was, the GameCube.
Double Dash.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that the GameCube was such a not successful console until
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, because I had it and I loved it, and I thought.
Yeah, same here. I didn't know that it was. I never knew that it was the console that nobody bought. Like my friends had them.
Yeah, mine too.
But admittedly, I also wasn't going through checking sales figures of consoles back in those days.
No,
Hmm.
nor are
Back
they
then, it was
quite
so
so
much
readily
simpler.
available.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that data wasn't always around.
And they weren't
Um,
throwing it in our faces every time it came out.
Yeah.
Just had the
Yeah,
highest
they never
selling.
really tooted their Wii U horn though. They never said, "Hey, just to let you know, we just passed the 10 million mark 5 years after launch." And I guess they said they're going to have some more. They're going to talk about more 3DS because we don't really know what's coming out for 3DS
Nothing.
beyond Metroid, right?
Well, there's
Nothing.
Professor Layton. There's a Professor Layton game coming out in
AKA
October.
nothing.
Yeah.
No, I have a friend actually who plays all the Professor Laytons and loves them.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
definitely
sure
have their
does.
fans.
I
But
expect
yeah, we don't really know what else is out there.
I expect
for 3DS.
a huge portion of that will be Pokemon.
Well, that's
Oh,
true. We do because we
Ultra
also got. Is it
already?
Gold and Silver?
I forgot. No, it's. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's the gold and silver coming to the eShop, the originals.
Yeah.
When
Which
is Ultra Moon and Sun coming out?
Yeah, what's the release date on Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon?
that's probably in that November, December if they've given us one.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty positive it's their standard right around Thanksgiving.
Although the
October.
hype around that
Yep,
has not
November
been
17th.
17th. Yep.
Yeah, there hasn't been substantial hype around that.
Around the second coming of Pokemon Sun and Moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would there be?
So there's that. I mean, there'll probably be a lot of stuff. There might be some indie and third title stuff that we didn't know was coming.
What's the third one they call Pokemon Sun? You know how like X and Y had Z. Sun and Moon has is it Star or is it?
There
I
isn't
forget
one.
what you called it.
There
isn't
was
one?
no Z.
There wasn't a Z. It was rumored
Oh,
that
that
there
was
was going to
just
be a Pokemon
that was
Stars
just-
for Switch, which would be like the third one for Sun and Moon, but that's turned out not.
They
to be
haven't
correct.
done a third Pokemon game in I don't know how many generations now, but every single time
been one
a set of
since Yellow?
Pokemon a game comes out, there is always there was because Diamond for Ruby
Okay.
was it
Oh,
Ruby Sapphire?
It started with Black and White 2.
Yeah, Black 2 and White
What did
2.
they? But
And
what
there's
did they
Heart
call?
Silver, Heart
What was
Gold.
the rumor for the third one for Black and White? Gray.
Yeah, there was a rumor that there was going to be Pokemon Gray before Black 2 and White 2 came out.
Really?
But there's been a rumor, like the last 3 generations, there has not been a third Pokemon game like that. But there's a rumor every time. It's all over the internet.
What was
Yeah, it was-
so what was one where they actually had a third? Was it like Platinum or?
Yeah, Pokemon Platinum was Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Platinum was the third one, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're right.
And then wasn't Diamond the third one for Ruby and Sapphire? Or am I mixing those up? That's kind of before my Poke time.
No,
No,
there's Diamond and Pearl, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Diamond and
Platinum.
Pearl were their own. Oh, was it Diamond, Pearl,
Yeah.
and Platinum? Was that the set?
Yep.
I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
that was it.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about
Oh.
the
Gems
Prince
and the
album.
precious metal. Why would they do that? They're stupid.
They're crazy. Yep.
Yeah. At some point, they were like 3 games. We're just kind of taking advantage of them
It
now.
should have been Pokemon
Oh, wow.
Diamond, Pearl, and Pokemon Cubic Zirconium.
But the
I
thing
think
is,
that's Yokai Watch.
That probably is one of the Yokai Watch versions.
you were
I
saying
think there is another one of those coming too.
you were talking about taking advantage of the Pokemon fans. They've really just increased it because a lot of people buy both versions. So now you buy both versions of the first game, you buy both versions of the second
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, no, totally. It's terrible.
Yep.
I got suckered with Black 2 and White 2, but only because my girlfriend at the time was I had somebody to play the other one for me,
Yeah.
so then I
Yeah.
could rate it for Pokemon afterwards.
The core concept is pretty gutsy to, even going back to Red and Blue, to be like we're going to release 2 of the same game that just have it was an untested idea when they first did that.
But it was all about, the whole point was supposed to be about the link cable and trading with your friends, not the
Yeah.
idea that you would go buy both games. But
Yeah.
that was probably in the boardroom conversations before they released it, like, hey, I bet you some people will buy 2 of them. Okay.
Surprised they haven't worked that into Animal Crossing yet, because everybody I know had at least 2 versions of that game. For New Leaf, anyway. And in some cases, 2 3DSs.
I had 2 Wild World games.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Nintendo's good about taking advantage that way. You
Well,
think we'll get Animal Crossing announced tomorrow?
Hope so.
for Switch?
Yeah, I was just kidding. That's
I think
totally
we're gonna
Yeah.
get. I think we're gonna get a half hour of Super Mario Odyssey,
Yep.
and then
Yeah.
Or like
15
44
minutes of
minutes.
stuff.
I don't know. Yeah,
Maybe.
I don't know that though. I mean, that is their big one, but people know that's coming. I did see a Best Buy is going to be offering a coin for pre-order. Super
What?
Mario Odyssey coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, hop on there and pre-order now. And they're also
Wait a minute.
giving people, I think, $10 back too. If you
Well, I
order it.
saw the hat. I saw the Mario Rabbit hat on the website.
Oh yeah.
Still can't for $20. I still can't believe that. That's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, I
to
don't
me.
know that people are going to be clamoring for Rabbids gear
Right.
just yet. Although that game has been fairly positively reviewed so far as well. So people
Yeah.
Yeah,
who are into
love
that
it.
XCOM thing kind of like it.
Yeah, people love it. I don't want to get into it, but
Yeah, it's
Um,
turn-based isn't my thing. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't whip something out like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze,
for Switch.
Yeah.
or some other remaster like that.
Deluxe.
What about the remake of the Mario and Luigi game?
Which one?
The one they announced
Superstar
at
Saga?
E3?
Superstar
so.
Yeah,
Saga?
is that this year still? The
That's-
Superstar Saga.
I'm not
Wait, it's
sure.
just a remake?
It's
or
a
is it-
remake.
oh,
Remake of the DS one, right? Or
They have
advanced one?
They have like an
But it's
extra
not a-
mode with it.
Oh, what's the extra mode?
Something about Captain Goomba or something like that.
So it's just like a port with an extra mode on it?
Yeah, sort of.
It's
I'm not
as
really sure.
exciting.
I was hoping someone else would be.
I was never into the turn-based stuff, so I never got into those. It's a Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. That's what it
There we
was.
go.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah. But
I
is that
actually
a
thought
new
the Bowser's-
game?
Yeah, it's like a.
It-
Yeah, I thought it looked interesting. You play as Bowser's minions, like the Captain Goomba, and then you pick up new characters and have little army battles. I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I don't know
sounds
that
like
I've
it.
heard about it since
it-
E3. Really,
Is it for Switch or 3DS?
3D.
3DS,
yes.
wasn't it?
Oh, okay.
Oh, October 6th is the date on that one.
So that might be something we see more of.
Expect. Yeah, it's for 3DS, October 6th. So expect to
was-
hear about it tomorrow.
I was
Oh,
reading
really?
a review.
Okay.
I was reading what was it? The Destructoid review of Metroid, the glowing review, and they said that the 3D looks good even on old 3DS systems. But isn't the 3D like the same on all the?
It really
3DS
does. The only benefit to the new one is the eye tracking, so that you don't have to hold it perfectly straight and whatever like you did on the old one.
Yeah, but sometimes the eye tracking like messes up and it like stays blurry for a while too.
Every once in a while. You wear glasses when you play?
Yeah.
That might have something to
Maybe
do with
that's
it.
why.
I've heard.
Okay.
But it's can anyone say for sure? Do you think the new 3DS 3D looks like is it better? Like, does the quality look better? Does the 3D
I
look
would say
better? Is
no.
it just
It's
it looks the
the
same pretty
exact
much,
same.
right?
Yeah, it's the exact
It
same.
might
yeah.
be
Just the
slightly
tracking is better.
brighter or something, but the tracking is fabulous. But
Yeah.
the quality of the 3D is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't
noticed
think
that
there's
on
any-
their launch games, you could go a lot more deeper with the 3D than the later games, like Street Fighter.
It seems to
what was it,
depend from
5?
game to game, though, because like we all remember the new Super Mario Brothers 2 that had like the weirdest 3D on it of all the games. I think it was
Yeah, it was
very
like
subtle.
barely there. Yeah, but like the launch one they had what was it, Street Fighter or whatever? You could go really deep on that one, and then
Yeah. Star Fox probably.
Star Fox
That was
probably.
all the
Pilot
launch
Wings.
titles for the 3DS. You could set super deep 3D
Yeah.
settings or super like where they would stick way out of the screen.
Yeah.
And I guess there were enough people that like got headaches or didn't like it or whatever that none of like after the first like 9 months or so the thing had been out, no more titles did that. All of them kind of switched to this kind of flat paper doll looking 3D mode, most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Nintendo really wants to win you over, Z, they need to announce the Virtual Boy collection for 3DS tomorrow.
No, they need to, if they really want to win me over, they need to announce the Virtual Boy Classic. It needs to be made in quantities that I can walk in and buy one.
Wait,
They
how would
need
that
to
work
make
though? Because you're supposed to wear it around your face. Oh, you can. Okay, so it would still have the thing that attaches to your face and. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Makes
If it
don't think
doesn't
that's
if
happening.
it doesn't attach to your face, what's the point?
Right.
Although that would be the easiest one to do is just a plug and play controller, and then on your TV it's just that horrible black and red.
No, it's got to have. Oh, go ahead.
Have any of you played a Virtual Boy besides Z?
Yeah,
I
think
remember
that's-
demoing it in Toys R Us when it was out, but I never bought one.
I've never even
I
seen
got to
one.
play a bunch of games that were never released at the one time I went to E3 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
22 years ago now. They were demoing. It was pretty much the last few games that they had announced for the Virtual Boy, and pretty much immediately after that E3, they canceled it all.
Did you buy a Virtual Boy, Z?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
From Blockbuster. When they
How much
decided
was
they
it?
were no longer going to $30 when they decided they
30
were no
bucks?
longer going to rent Virtual Boys anymore. I'm pretty sure it had never been rented. They
Oh,
had
okay.
like
You didn't buy it at retail. Okay.
no. The local Best Buy, I got a sweet little carry case for it with all the perfectly cut out foam and the whole 9 yards. Because they were rental units, and they had like a dozen of them at the local Best Buy, and it looked like maybe we opened up every single one of them, my buddies and I, and we decided maybe 2 of them had ever been rented, and the rest of them looked utterly perfectly pristine, like they'd never been touched.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were beautiful. So they were getting rid of those. They were getting rid of Genesis's, Sega CDs, 32Xs. They rented all that stuff back in the day, and I just want to hang myself for all the stuff that I was like, meh. Oh, I can get a Genesis 32X. Like that was the other thing. We went to different Best Buys. Some of them were selling the components individually for $30 a piece. Some of the Best Buys were selling the entire. Like you could get a Genesis 32X Sega CD whole setup, $30. And
Wow.
I was like, meh. I got the Virtual Boy. I'm cool. If I could go back, man, that's one of those opportunities I would have jumped all over. I would have set up my
few
own
proud that bought a
eBay store.
32X almost after launch, like right after launch. I got it for Christmas.
Did you get that Star Wars game for it?
I got Star Wars, I got Mortal Kombat 2, and I got Doom, and I think those still might be the only 3 I have.
Oh, that's right, the Doom 32X. With the Star Wars one, was that the one that was the combo 32X Sega CD? There was like only 2 games.
No, it was just 32X, but it was very much polygon, and I'll tell you what, I've done side by side comparisons between like Super NES and 32X Mortal Kombat 2, and they look identical to me between the 32X and the Super NES. Like I don't think they really tapped into the potential of that hardware, but Doom looked okay.
That was the one that had like it would have a really, really, really terrible imitation of James Earl Jones's voice saying "impressive" when you would.
Yeah, it had it had Admiral Akbar, but it's all polygons. It looked like I mean, it was a fun enough game for a Star Wars fan like me, but it was very Star Foxy but just like when you're in the cockpit view, it wasn't the greatest, obviously.
But it was just cool because it was Star Wars at the time. But go ahead.
Z, how much was a Virtual Boy at retail when they launched it? Do you know?
Was that $129 when it came out?
I thought they were almost 200 when they came out.
Oh, you're right. I think it was like $189 or $179. I think you're right.
Damn, that's insane.
That's nothing. A mere pittance for the
Yep,
future.
$179.95. You are correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's kind of their price point. I remember seeing it and being like, yeah, this is cool, but I'll not be able to afford it. But I don't think I ever played it long enough to get a headache in the store.
I remember thinking about it when they cut the price, very quickly to like it was like $120 and then it was $100 very quickly after. And it was $129 and then it was $99 very, very quickly and then it was gone. But I remember looking at it at $129 and man, nah. And then $99, I thought about it and then it was gone. I was like, oh, well, I didn't really miss it. And then, hey, Blockbuster's blowing them out for $30. Hell yeah. The games were, I think they were selling the games for $5 a piece, and they had almost all the games because they only ever made like 15 games for the thing. So I got almost the entire collection, except there's a Waterworld game that is now just obscenely expensive on eBay that they had it, but Waterworld was the biggest flop in the world at the time. So it was like, oh, why do I want that crappy Waterworld game? Oh, now it's worth $100 on eBay. Of course.
But now would be the time for the 3DS to do something like that. It's end of life. I kind of am getting the feeling like Metroid is the last hurrah. Like that's if they went out on that, that would be a strong enough title.
It's totally the Skyward Sword, or the Twilight Princess, or the who can name like the Swan Song game.
For Breath of the Wild for Wii U.
Consoles. Breath of the Wild for Wii U, absolutely.
Yeah.
What was the DS's Swan Song game? Anyone know?
Ooh, was it a Pokemon?
They did release, I think.
I guess so.
Didn't Pokemon something come out after?
They released like 2 rounds,
Black
2 or 3 rounds of Pokemon games. Yeah, both
Black 2, White 2, maybe.
Black and White and Black 2, White 2 both came out after the release of the 3DS.
Yeah.
I think did like Platinum come out after the release of the 3DS, or was it right around that time?
Platinum was DS, I'm pretty sure.
No, I know, and so were all the Blacks and Whites. But I mean, but the Blacks and Whites came out long after 3DS came out, as I remember.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't even
Sadly,
one
I
of
think the NES went out on
ones?
Wario's Woods.
That's true. The NES did kind of limp to its death. N64, the last game that I remember playing the crap out of on N64 was Donkey Kong 64, but I think there were a lot of big ones that came along after that.
Yeah.
Maybe Perfect
Conker's
Dark
Bad Fur Day. What?
Maybe Perfect Dark was the swan song for N64. No, wait, no, there's a lot after that too.
Yeah, there was just
Yeah,
N64 was kind of it had a long run and it had a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it hung around, and that's why I think it would be very hard to do a 64 classic, because
so many of the games,
of the games that are revered, how many of them are actual Nintendo titles? Like, you can't put GoldenEye on it, so why bother?
Yeah. You can't. Any of the rare titles probably are going to be, well, some of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's all going to work.
Yeah,
they got Donkey Kong Country for Super Nintendo, but the licensing
you'd
agreement may be
You'd have
different.
Donkey Kong 64, which everyone hates.
What are you talking about?
Mario.
I love that game.
Come on now.
I played that game to death. I beat that game. That was punishment. That was real punishment.
That's the Donkey Kong rap game.
I got my banana controller with it, my banana N64 controller. That's still, my favorite controller.
But yeah, there's a lot there that was third party. Like other than Mario 64 and Pilot Wing 64, Star Fox 64,
Mario Kart, Mario Kart 64, Smash. Oh,
I guess it could be pretty badass now that we're talking about it.
Yeah,
I don't know. But there's no way they're going to be able to throw 30 games onto it.
No. But the Super Nintendo only has what, 20, 22? What is it? 18? What's Super Nintendo?
Yeah, it's less.
It's less, yeah.
It's less than the NES was.
They could do slightly less on the Super. Like if they released a N64 Classic with a dozen games, well, $100. Yeah. Like if they go up another $20, I wouldn't do it. $80, 100 games, N64 Classic, I'd do it. I don't think they could do that though.
Would you guys prefer that they released these classics or that they had a virtual console with the stuff on it?
Virtual. That's
Yeah, it'd be way better.
don't
I
ask
mean,
that
there's
question.
like.
I want my
I mean,
virtual
Nintendo could
console.
even do their own line of like the 8-bit dough, just reissue, have a virtual console controller that looks like a 64 controller and a Super NES controller. And I mean,
Yeah.
they could do all that if they really wanted. They really wanted to get your money.
Yeah.
They could do one of those.
Make them wireless.
I'm guessing
Yep.
they're not going to talk about
Yeah.
Wireless.
online tomorrow. I would guess they're still not talking about online tomorrow. Although that would be interesting.
Now that they've pushed it to next year, I'll say you're right.
Yeah.
I bet at some point tomorrow's big event was supposed to talk all about the new online service coming for Christmas. But
I guess they could probably peak it because you don't know when it's going to come. They might be launching it on January 1st for all we know. So, but I have a feeling it seems like nowadays they do a beginning of the year direct. So
Yeah.
hold that, but
I think it would have already leaked if it was going to be something about online related. Because that's kind of their thing now is to leak it ahead of time.
Well, that's the thing. I haven't heard any leak rumors yet for this one tomorrow. But maybe they're doing a better job at keeping the lid on some of those. I was expecting more leaks from like third parties, but who knows? What if tomorrow they say and Rocket League will be available for download directly after this? Yes.
The only leak
Yeah,
they
they
had
haven't
was
done-
that they're gonna have a achievement system on Switch.
Yeah, which I don't expect them to talk about.
Right.
That was leaked by a third-party developer, right?
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
once again, hey, it's big news that something leaked, that Nintendo's going to do something that everyone else has been doing for 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
But they could tie theirs to the My Nintendo program.
Oh, yeah. Make me some coins.
Sweet silver coins. Hey, I will say the Metroid 3DS theme is pretty cool.
It is.
I picked that up.
Wait, does it have
Music's
music
good.
on it? They
Yeah.
have music on it? Wow. That's what
Yeah,
I
no,
hated
it's
about
not-
all the other themes is that they had no music. It's like, why do you want a
Well,
theme with no
No,
music?
that's because you were getting all your themes from Badge Arcade. The ones from My Nintendo had music. They just
No, there
all have
was-
the same music.
No, they all had the same ones. Yeah, but this is like an actual theme that you could see them selling.
No, and it's the music. It's the intro music. Well, it's kind of a medley actually.
A mashup. Yeah, it's got the Super
different
Metroid
musics. Yeah,
Boom, 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 boom.
yeah, totally. It's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a proper. They did Metroid some justice. Yeah.
So
Too bad it's not on my
yeah.
Switch.
that was my best. That was my best scam of the week for Nintendo because I did not have 20 gold points, and then I saw Out of This World was on sale for like $157, and it's normally an $8 game, so that got me 10 points. And then I bought some Wii U game that I don't even care about for 50 cents. That's normally $8, so that got me the other 10. So I spent $2 and I got that sweet theme, which is what you would have paid for it in the eShop anyway. So
Sometimes they have a game for free that
And
you
a
can
game.
buy and get points for it. That was on the
Yeah.
Wii U.
I haven't seen one of those in a while, but I picked up all the ones I knew about. I don't think I've opened a single one of them.
well, we've yet to see it, but there might come the dark day of the Wii U where everybody's just like, I don't even care, just take this stuff, or I think we're getting there now. When I got games that are $8 that they're blowing out for 50 cents.
Well, you know what I thought was funny? Capcom had this big sale on all their stuff, and most of the stuff was not. It was not as deep a discount as it had been previously. Like most of those, both of the Resident Evil games have been $5 multiple times, and that big Capcom sale, I think they were $10 or $7.50.
I think they had Monster Hunter 3 though for like 7 or 8, which is a pretty decent deal.
That's true. That's I think might be the cheapest that's been. But again, that's because it's like there's already one or two later versions of Monster Hunter since.
Yeah.
Well, they keep saying that there's rewards coming for My Nintendo for Switch, so maybe they'll talk about that in the direct tomorrow.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
Since before the Switch came out, My Nintendo site has said, since like months before the Switch came out, the My Nintendo site has said Switch rewards coming soon. Excuse me, coming soon. I don't know what soon means to Nintendo, but it does not mean like 9 or 10 months. That is not soon.
It means next to never.
Yeah.
Next to never.
I think we may get that
Bill
from
Clinton's definition. Yeah. And real quick, I do want to touch on something I thought was interesting. So Jules Walsham, who's made a bunch of awesome games for the 3DS, has got a new game called Chicken Wiggle. That's got like a level editor. It's got some like cool features. It looks okay. But he was kind of complaining about Nintendo didn't seem to be throwing much support behind him. Like they weren't featuring him in the eShop now. And then he had a thing on Twitter where he kind of said that, well, first of all, he was very cool in telling his fans like, hey, it didn't sell as well as I thought. Don't buy it right now because I'm going to put it on sale next week, which I think is this week. But also said he feels that the indie audience has already kind of left the 3DS and moved on to the Switch, which I thought was interesting. That he feels like, because he was expecting it to do better than it had. He was like, I expected it not to sell great, but I didn't expect it to not sell that not great. But he was like, he really likes the game and thought it was cool. It's got a cool level editor and all this stuff, but he feels like Nintendo didn't really throw any weight behind it in the eShop and advertising it or helping getting it out there. And
yeah, they want to promote.
It's kind of moved.
Well, yeah, I don't.
And I think that's happening.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think that's what's going to, as much as anything else, kill the 3DS, is that I can't see that there's many indie developers right now that are excited about developing something new for 3DS while the Switch is out. It's probably much easier to develop for the Switch, being that they don't have to worry about double screens and
3D
stuff like that. So
not
that they ever did.
Well, like with anything, it's always optional, right? They don't have to use motion controls. It's like I really hope that we don't get back to games, like on the Wii, where they feel obligated to include the motion control thing because it's an includable feature.
I did see Resident Evil 2 or 1 and 2 will have that sweet waggle control that you love. They're putting motion control into those games.
You know what? For shooters, to me, it all goes back to Metroid Prime. I really do like the motion control shooter aspect.
Play control style.
New play control, yeah. But I like that aspect. I like, for a shooter, to me, that was the first time when they came out with Metroid on the Wii. To me, that was the first time a console shooter was at least comparable to a PC shooter. To me, they were laughable to me before that when you had to play with a second stick. That just, to me, that's not a viable control option for a shooter. For your mouse control, basically, is where I'm coming from. So the motion control with the Wiimote, to me, is was the best solution available at the time. And now Splatoon, that's what I want. When the new Metroid comes out, any shooter that comes out on the Switch, I want basically Splatoon controls as an option. That to me is the definitive console shooter with motion control solution.
Yeah.
Hopefully tomorrow we'll get Pikmin Trilogy for Switch.
I want Steel Diver.
Yeah, that would be so easy, man. That would be so easy for them to do.
I would love some kind of game, even if it wasn't
Okay.
Steel Diver, but some type of online multiplayer, free to download and start kind of game. Switch needs something like that, I think.
Yeah,
I've already forgot what Flip Wars. Like Nintendo hasn't been too great with their kind of like bottom tier games recently.
Well,
like that.
On that subject, that's speaking of the bottom tier. Where are the free to play games? Like, are those coming later?
The Switch?
Yeah.
Or is the Switch the premium console that's not going to have that kind of stuff?
Pokemon Shuffle Switch.
Well, I just
they might as well.
I mean, they got a ton of that stuff on 3DS. They got some of it on Wii U. But on the flip side, it plays into your complaint, Mo, that there's a lot of crap on the eShop, and maybe they're trying to, stem that tide a little bit. Because, right, as soon as you start seeing free-to-play games, it's like, oh, it's phone stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they want to differentiate.
It might be too
themselves.
early for that.
Yeah.
What do
You
they
think
have?
we'll get an announcement for Netflix tomorrow?
Ooh,
I wish.
No.
I doubt it.
At this point, I would take that as and available directly after the presentation. Netflix.
That would be that would excite me, admittedly. When
Yeah.
they do finally announce that Netflix is coming, I will be fired up about it.
What do they have on Wii? What do they have on the Wii U eShop that's free to play? Because I can't think of anything.
That Amiibo game?
Well, yeah, there's the Amiibo thing. There's doesn't a Donkey Kong does Tipping Stars have a free to play type thing? I can't remember. There was some like minis.
No.
It seems like that had Amiibo that was like kind of free to try. I think
They had there were some of them were kind of half-assed, but right, they had a little Animal Crossing thing that you could download and play with for a while. They had a few other little random odds and ends like that were just little freebie downloads. Right, the 3DS has a bunch of little, I guess they're sort of apps, sort of little just like toys, not really games. Some of them are games.
Yeah, your Pokemon Shuffles, your Badge Arcades.
Yeah, but those are like real free. Pokemon Shuffle and Badge Arcade are like real.
Those are real free-to-play games. Yeah, I understand
where
that.
They try to get you to pay money. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm right. They have stuff also like photos with Mario, or
maybe they'll announce Rusty's Real Deal Baseball for Switch.
Deluxe.
Deluxe, yeah.
Yeah, that one did well.
They could have it come with all the games already unlocked for only $10.
No haggling involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't that the whole point of that thing?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I could totally see Reggie being like, for the haggle-free price of $9.99.
Or you can haggle with the dog to get $1 off.
Yeah.
If they are discontinuing the 3DS, why are they going to discontinue it like without a replacement? The Switch is supposed to be the replacement.
I think so.
And like, why didn't they?
They don't want to say that yet, but I think so.
It like back when the Switch released?
Because when Pokemon got huge and then led to a rush on 3DS's last Christmas, Nintendo, I think, decided maybe we won't sunset this thing quite yet.
Yeah.
I felt like they also wanted the little extra bit of insurance in case Switch didn't take off somehow, that they had something to fall back on a little bit.
That's true too.
Well, yeah. Plus, it's like 6 years into the cycle, so it is about time. I'm just hoping they don't.
But they refreshed the hardware recently,
Well, they did that like every year, though, didn't they?
No, I mean the new 3DS was the only one that they only refreshed the 3DS once. But sorry, go ahead.
And the 2DS XL.
Oh yeah. I was just hoping they wouldn't end it too soon because I still have a backlog that I was going to work on, but yeah, they'll probably end it.
You still have that option.
Yeah. I don't know if they end it. It's funny. I I might not just do the backlog anymore. I just sell them.
Like, I'm just putting it on eBay.
Yeah. But
I felt that way when the Switch first came out. I was ready to, put away the 3DS and just focus solely on the Switch. So I kind of get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I did, and I've only since dusted it off and dug it back out because hey, there's a Metro game coming out.
Yeah, I never even finished the Pikmin game. Like it's hard to try to force myself to get through it. It's not a bad game per se. It's just slow and a little boring. But yeah, that's definitely not a top tier title. But Metroid feels like it's hopefully going to be a strong title. I'll bet we'll hear more about that tomorrow, or they'll at least remind us that it's coming out at the end of the week.
Yep. Might even spend 5 minutes on it.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping it's not going to be one where they spend 20 minutes on any games.
I still haven't been able to get it. They're going to do that with Mario Odyssey, I guarantee you. But
half hour.
I still haven't gotten the Metroid amiibo. How about you guys?
Yeah, I've got it pre-ordered. I'll pick it up on Friday.
Anyone else trying to get them that hasn't been able to get them yet, besides me?
I haven't been trying.
No here.
If you want
But
to
I
just
haven't
line
seen
up
any
at
of
dawn.
I'm over it. I
They'll
just can't
they'll
do
be
it anymore.
the one little sort of bright light. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say the bright light about it is they kind of seem to be going kind of hard with this Metroid thing, at least for right now. But then I'm thinking, well, I guess they did that with Breath of the Wild too, and that those amiibo disappeared pretty quick.
Hmm.
But
Oh yeah,
I saw them at least.
I do have 3 amiibos pre-ordered for Odyssey. I have the cake tops for Mario, Peach, and Bowser.
I know, man. I made fun of my wife because she wanted to get Totoro cake toppers for our wedding. And but I have to admit, if those had been available when we got married, I might have there might have been some debates going down about that.
But
Did you get the
would you
Totoro
be
ones?
Mario or Bowser?
We did get the Totoro ones, but we didn't on the cake. We talked her out of it. But no, it would be Mario, dude. I mean, I'd get the Bowser one, but then Bowser would be like at the bottom of the cake or something. I'd have to work Bowser in somehow, but
It's like Wreck-It Ralph.
Have you guys heard
Yeah.
of Wah Peach?
Wah Peach is the best.
I didn't
What is-
even know she existed or that the
She
idea
doesn't.
existed. I know she
That's-
doesn't, but I never
I
even
think
heard
that's
of the
I think that's one of
concept.
those great Meverse creations. that Wah Peach has got to be Wario's girl.
Have we now? Wario and Waluigi. There's never been a female. They've never had female counterparts, have they?
Wah Daisy.
Yeah, I think even Waluigi, I think, was a joke that got out of hand. Because I think I remember hearing Waluigi was created by a third party.
I'm gonna need to Google
Oh.
Wah Peach now.
Yeah.
It's just Peach with the Wario mustache, or actually sometimes they have her fat and derpy
Oh, there's the
looking.
rendering of it. It's gone that far.
Yeah.
Sad.
Oh, see, Miiverse, the world is gonna lose. Like part of the world's soul will die when Miiverse goes away.
Speaking of that 3DS, just had a little announcement last night. I got a little notification letting me know about the end of Miiverse. It's like, well, if you're still opening your 3DS at this point, you probably already know about the end of Miiverse.
Oh, hey, there's a Wah Rosalina now.
Yeah.
Oh, is that just Rosalina with the Wario mustache also?
I don't know, man. There's some funny stuff on here.
I'll still hold out for Woad.
What?
Or Woomba?
It'll be Toad, but it's Woad.
Or Wodet?
Yeah. Woshi. All right, I think we've talked ourselves into a hole that we're not going to get out of.
That's right. Yeah.
Wah Rosalina. That was pretty good.
I like that she has the eggplant there.
Someone kind of cheaped out on this one, but I like it. Where's what eggplant one were you talking about?
It was amazing.
Oh, I just saw it. Yeah, nice. Oh, the internets.
Do we have any other topics? Anything else coming up? Anybody have any hopes and prayers for tomorrow?
Well, I did have one last question.
Go ahead.
For the Direct. Who will be hosting it? At least the North America version.
Bill Trinan. No, I don't know.
He has been absent, like somehow. I feel like we haven't seen a lot of him lately.
I think it's going to be a tag team effort. I think we're going to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's going to be Koizumi and Reggie and maybe Trinan. Who else?
They're bringing the Treehouse people to the front a little bit.
Yeah. They're making it more of an ensemble cast.
The last Direct, I guess it was the Nindies showcase. I don't even know who that was. Does anybody else?
Dan something?
That was an intern. No, I don't know.
I mean, is it
No,
somebody you recognize from before?
Yeah, the Nindies at Night one, you mean?
No, the Nindy Showcase, the host.
Yeah, that was he's kind of their guy who's their indie guy that courts indie and helps develop indies. I've seen him before. He's kind of new to the company though,
He's
I think.
their indies, the indies.
Yeah. I don't know who will host it. It seems like Reggie's even been kind of missing lately.
I see quotes attributed to him all the time, but there doesn't seem to be any video of it.
Yeah, it's like,
Not even photos usually.
yeah, you wonder what they're doing, man. So I guess that really does bring up the question of what exactly does he do?
We
Seems
may
like he
never
just
know.
gives an odd interview now and then.
Yeah.
I think he's back at the home office, barking at the marketing department, getting orders from Japan. Being told what to say and what to lie about, and
Wouldn't you love a Reggie tell-all?
Yeah, I'd buy that.
Like when he's done with the company and he can say whatever he wants, be like, all right, Reggie, tell us, what was it really like?
How many of these American president figureheads have they had? There was the Howard guy, and then who was after the Howard guy?
It wasn't Reggie.
Some of the ones have been from Japan.
Well, they've always had an American, a president of Nintendo of America that was some sort of public face to some degree or other, right? Remember
Yeah, but some of the ones have been Japanese. Was Kimishima once president of NA? It seems like he might have been.
I don't know.
Who's over it now? I can't remember, but there have been other people who have been, like they've had people that were head of North America here and there throughout the past. But Reggie's definitely the most like recognizable one to me.
Yeah, by far.
He's had the most bit of business to do in front of the people, as far as them including him in the little. But they also I don't know if that style came in with Iwata of just kind of the jokey talking to people kind of style.
No, because remember that was the presentation they gave back in the Nintendo Fun Club days, right? They tried to give off that vibe in the newsletter with all their kind of
their
Nestor and it's like, hey, it reminds me of that. I don't know if you guys ever saw that old Jack in the Box commercial where they do a tour of the Jack in the Box corporate office. It's a bunch of little school kids. Does anyone have any idea what I'm talking about? I guess maybe that's.
And then he lowers his sunglasses and shoots lasers out of his eyes.
It's just like the kids are standing around a copy machine and there's like just some old dude standing there. Hi, I'm Paul Schultz. I buy cheese. And it's just kind of this weird, goofy commercial. And then at the end of the commercial, the little kid's running down the street. Mommy, I met Paul Schultz. Right. And it's just like, it's just kind of this ridiculous idea. And they kind of, somehow Nintendo of America kind of gave that impression through their Fun Club newsletters, and like when they'd occasionally show pictures of what eventually became the Treehouse or what have you. They did right. They tried to present themselves as, hi, we're a fun company with fun people, right?
Fun employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're something. I don't know. Some of the Treehouse people give me the creeps.
Really, like who?
I don't know the girls,
the girls,
the guys, all of them, all of them really. Anytime, but I mean, I guess I also feel like they're not on-air talent, and they're just neither is Reggie, I guess, but they're just shoving these people in front and are like, you got to give them props for being like, especially at E3, like, hey guys, all you got to do is go out there and kill 8 hours, have fun, like that's basically like a telethon.
But I feel like the Treehouse people are more real than Reggie or a lot of the other people you see in front of the camera.
Yeah, they probably are, but I feel like they also probably have to feel like one slip and they're out of there.
They're probably far more carefully scripted than we realize, but yeah.
Yeah. some of the stuff, I don't know. Like I said, when Nintendo does stuff like this E3, the Treehouse was talking about Samus, and trying to like introduce you to the character. Like, she's our cool, strong female character, and she's really cool because she's a girl and she's powerful. And I'm like, just shut up and show me the game. Like, we know Samus is awesome already. I don't know. I feel like they should talk to people like there's already some familiarity with their products.
I know, right?
They've been around long enough. You don't need to introduce me to a 30-year-old property.
Well, like you said, the directs aren't really made for anybody, except seem like
It
they're made
seems
for
like
people who
that,
don't
but I
know.
wish it
Yeah.
wasn't that way. I
know,
wish.
right?
I wish, be like, just talk to me, Reggie. That's who you're talking to. It's like, because all they're really doing is giving out blurbs that are going to end up on all the video game news sites, and anyone outside of that radius isn't probably going to ever get that news. You know,
Yeah.
for the most part. Other than there's a new Mario game coming, there's a new system coming. Like, you know, for the most part, that's all that's going to be out there. So they might as well just talk to us like they're talking to us. That's all I got. That's my 2 cents.
I do miss that. I think that was something that was present in like the Nintendo Power era. There was a lot of sort of almost inside jokes or, you know, funny little commentary. And it kind of made you feel connected to them as a company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Iwata did some of that as well, and Reggie to a degree kind of brought the personality back to the company, but it's also pretty schlocky, like with some of the Trenin stuff, and some of the stuff's a bit too much for me.
In the same way their Twitter
A kid now.
accounts. Yeah, but the same way their Twitter account, you know, tweets out old memes and is just kind of tone deaf a lot of times, like with the thing where they like dropping the ad about the Super Nintendo Classic, you know, hours after the whole pre-order disaster. You know, just stupid.
Timing's
you know,
not their thing.
Yeah, they just don't. They seem to just not get it so often, you know, and they telegraph that vibe sometimes.
Yeah.
I've always said for an advertisement to really be successful, you've got to have a product to sell. And if the product's not available, you might as well not run the ad. But who am I? They're the Nintendo people. They know what they're doing, right? We'll see. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm intrigued, at least, I guess.
I feel I should probably mention for our listeners at home, we do record on Tuesday. So technically the direct hasn't happened. But when you're listening to this, you will know the future. You will know what happened in the direct.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a good point. We're going to be talking about old stuff, aren't we?
Yeah.
But of course,
so
we'll
let us know if we were right or wrong on Twitter.
That's right.
Yeah.
As I'm sure would be fun. A fun game to play at home. Yeah, I'm sure we're all going to discuss it. We'll see. Hopefully they drop some bombshells. I am not expecting any, though.
Me neither.
I'm expecting to be disappointed as usual, yes. Because it's Nintendo, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should wrap up here on this low-key, low expectations note here. Yeah. But thanks for tuning in if you were listening. And of course, you can always hit us up on Twitter or find us on Stitcher and iTunes and right here on YouTube. So thanks for watching. See you later, guys.
Have a good night.
Party on, folks.
Bye.